Are you in tune with the grinds? Do you feel your hustle? With every sense of the inner being within you, how connected are you to the endeavors? How connected are you to being a leader? How connected are you to the ideas that you have within your mind that you quantum entangle with? And how dedicated are you to bringing them into fruition? You see, this isn't for the average man. This is not for the, normal man. This is not for the complacent man. This is not for those of you that, just want some money or just want the women or just want some attention or some fame or any of those things. That's not what this is for. And that's not who I'm even addressing and talking to and conveying a message to right now. I'm conveying a message to the chosen. I'm conveying a message to those that were actually gifted with the responsibility of leadership. Those that were actually gifted with one of these, or whatever the equivalent to this is in your culture or your ethnic, difference. I want you to understand that when you're in the midst of the grinds, it's a spiritual endeavor. It's a spiritual journey of oneness that we must all, take on at some point in time. You get so deep into the grind where it's not about the money anymore for me. It's not about how much cryptocurrency I can gain. It's not about even how many subscribers or any kind of metric as far as the numbers are concerned of any kinds. It's no longer about that for me. We've entered a realm where it's a journey within. It's a battle within and it's a fight within. And, I'm going to add an anecdotal story to this to make this make more sense, from, American Indian culture. Now, I want you to understand that this story is one that applies directly to, and it was one that I discovered recently. I was gifted this story recently, and it touched on every aspect of what's currently going on within my life and what's currently going on with a lot of you guys as well. And, it clears the air on a lot of questions that we have within this journey. Now, the story goes as follows. There was a young man, and often, I'm going to preface it with this, oftentimes in various cultures, the rite of passage for a leader, for the chosen man, was a vision quest. So you sought out instruction from the Creator, from the Great Spirit. You sought out instruction on how you can lead the people the best, how you can protect and provide for those people, how, just seeking a vision or instruction or, a better understanding within of what your responsibility truly is. And, the story goes that, a young man sought out his vision quest, and he, went deep into the wilderness with nature, and he was fasting for 3 days, and it was in the midst of the winter was, up and coming. And at that point in time, there weren't stores, there weren't anything like that. So it was up solely to the hunt. It was solely up to the hunt to provide for the people. And, this young man, this young leader was on his vision quest 3 days without food. And his search and the quest was his heart. On the inside, he said, how can I, please give me instruction, please give me a vision on how I can provide for my people. Give us a way, Great Spirit, give us a way to overcome this. And by the end of the 3rd day, he saw a man descend from the sky. And this man came to him in this vision. He descended from the sky and he said, I've been sent here to help you with this endeavor. And so, the young leader is listening, ready for the answer, ready for the solution, or ready for, a gift of some kinds. And the man that descended from the sky said, wrestle with me. And the young man, mind you, had been fasting for 3 days. So his body was weak. He wasn't, physically, able to really wrestle, but he still did it anyway. He wrestled with that man. And then the young leader, after the first wrestling session, he lost, of course, because his body was very weak. He had been fasting with no food for 3 days. The man that descended from the sky then said, I will see you again tomorrow. And so the man came back the next day, on the 4th day, and he mustered up the strength again to wrestle with this man, and he lost again. And on the 5th day, You know, that man left again and said, I will see you again tomorrow, friend. And then the next day, you know, he came back, wrestled again. And this time, you know, the young leader was as weak as ever, you know, with no food, you know, no nourishment, you know, no encouragement, just him and the man that descended from the sky, you know, and he had to wrestle with this man. And on that fifth day, he won. On the fifth day, he won, though. He mustered up the strength and he won. And he was no longer, you know, approaching things with fear. He was no longer concerned about his own physicality. He was no longer concerned about his need for food or water. He was no longer concerned about, you know, whether he was going to win or lose, but simply just use his inner being and his inner strength and won. And then on the sixth day, as well as the man leaves on the fifth day, he tells them, you know, good job, but I'll return again tomorrow. And on tomorrow, you're going to win again. And he said, but this time, I want you to bury my body, and I want you to tend to my gravesite. Don't ever let weeds grow, and I want you to treat it with the utmost respect. And so the sixth day, the man came back, and the young leader, still fasting, was as strong as he's ever been. You know, even though he was in his weakest state, he was as strong as he has ever been. And he went on to, you know, wrestle with the man, defeat the man. And just like the man had told him, you know, he defeated him, he passed, and he was instructed to bury that man's body, you know, and, you know, treat the gravesite with the utmost respect, never let weeds grow, you know, and never forget about it either. And so he did just as he was instructed, and he returned unto his people. And his people were, you know, trying to get, you know, the message. Did you get a vision? You know, asking him. They were, you know, very concerned about the winter up and coming. They're like, you know, we got to go hunt. We got to, you know, just in stress mode. And he looked at them and he told them, he said, you know, there's no need for us to worry. Just follow me. You know, he returned to that gravesite. And on that gravesite grew corn. And he said, we're never going to have to worry about the winter ever again. For the land itself will now provide all that we need during our time of need. We don't have to worry about going outside and hunting, you know, for every single meal that we get during the hard times of the winter. For this land will give us all that we need. You know, when you really think about this story, I mean, it's absolutely soul touching, you know, because that is what the midst of this grind does. You know, that encompasses, that's the best story I've ever heard in my whole life. You know, I'll just go ahead and be honest and admit that, like that touches every aspect of my soul, because so many of us are experiencing that right now. You know, and we think that we're entitled to things, right? You know, we think that, you know, the God above, you know, the creator, the great spirit, you know, the universe, whatever you want to refer to it as, we think that we can earn favor. We think that we can earn being chosen. We think that we can earn, you know, outcomes and rewards and all of these things. And that's just simply not the case. You cannot earn what you will be blessed with. You simply cannot earn it. The stuff that we have already been blessed with far surpasses anything we could ever do to earn it or return, you know, the favor to the great spirit of the creator. So in essence, we cannot earn favor from the creator. We did not earn being chosen. It was gifted to us. We did not earn the things that we have right now. It was gifted to us. We cannot earn the outcomes that we are seeking. It will be gifted to us. So you must attack these endeavors and give your soul to it. You see, and I tell you guys this, but I don't think you guys, I'm going to say it again. I need you guys to really listen to what I'm saying. You have to give your soul to this. I'm talking to the chosen man. I'm talking to the man that is chosen to be a leader. Leadership is a great responsibility. To even get on here and talk to you guys is the utmost responsibility. To have a platform, to have even one person listening to what you're saying, you have a responsibility. And you guys need to treat that as such. As men, that's what we are, leaders. And you have to understand that that is a responsibility. You must understand that it is your responsibility to have humility whenever you seek answers, whenever you seek accumulation, whenever you seek these things. For no matter how much work we ever put in, we can never earn it. It is always gifted to us. It is always left entrusted, entrusted to us so that we are to do the right things with it. And I say all that because just like the story said, in the midst of this grinds, you will be tested. You will be tested. And it's when we think we're at our weakest point that we're the strongest that we've ever been. And that within and of itself is soul touching. That's when you're at your peak, at your strongest. When you feel like you don't have nothing left to give. And the fact that he was blessed with an ecosystem, essentially, that we don't have to go out there and worry about the hunt every single day, because the land itself, cultivated properly, will grow all that we need to surpass, to endure these times. And that's the ecosystem right there. So I want you guys to understand that, as I sit in the midst of this journey, and as I sit, conversing with you guys, and, we collectively, the collective of all of us, experience this chosen journey, the leadership that has been bestowed upon us to lead in a time such as this. We have to understand that a leader is not void of feelings. A leader is not void of all of these things. In fact, what I get from the story is, he went without food. You go without these things. You make these sacrifices. And, I had to understand that, a warrior, a leader, a man, a chief is not, void of feelings. We lead past pain, yes, but I would argue that this is how a warrior feels. That's what I tell myself. In the midst of this grind, when we're on that 6th day, and I'm really as strong as I've ever been, but I don't feel like it, but I have to wrestle with this man once again. I have to understand this is what a warrior feels like. In order for you to bring that out of yourself, you have to have a certain level of dedication, a certain level of humility to be the sacrifice, for you yourself to be the martyr, for you yourself to be the sacrifice, so that you can bless others, so that you can go on to, gift others with, information, with wisdom, with accumulation, with the ecosystem, with, all that we are building. And the reason why that young leader was chosen is because the intentions of his heart was pure. He was seeking to provide for his people, and though none of us are perfect, right? None of us are perfect. And in our reality, especially in this Western world, we live in a broken society where in order for you to even really get to accumulation, you might have to do some things that you don't want to do. You might have to do some things that, the best human beings are simply not going to do. It's not in them to do that. And I want to just comment on that and say that I don't believe that to be a reflection of your intentions in the soul that you have, because I believe that we were chosen in a time such as this to right these wrongs, to rise up and get back a lot of the things that are rightfully ours. And you got to give your soul to it. But I just want to let you guys know that, I feel fear. I feel frustration. I feel rage. I feel love. We feel all of these things, right? And I think that the warrior and the chosen man and the leader experience these things at a very heightened sense, because we're so connected, to our inner being, and we're so connected to the great spirit, the creator, that we experience these things in a heightened sense. And so that's why it's so important for you guys to learn how to lead past pain. But that also is the greatest source of our strength. That's why we're able to push so far past the limit. That's why we're able to be the martyr for the cause. That's why we're able to die for this. I'm able to die for this because I really, on the depths of my inner being, I find no greater honor, and see, other individuals can't die for anything because they don't live for anything. They don't really feel anything. They're just existing. But, us, the chosen, the warriors, we feel everything. because, we're in tune, and that's how it's supposed to be. A lot of these things that we see on the internet and a lot of the tactics and tools that were used against our ancestors even were used to, detach us from, the great connections that we've always had. And, I see so many of you guys right now that are embarking on your rite of passage as a man, and I just want you to stay solid in that, stay strong in that. I did it, I'm currently going through it. You guys are going through it. A lot of other men will go through it that are also chosen, but never forget, what this means to you. Never forget what this means to you. Or the equivalent, like I said earlier, in your culture or ethnic background, you have to understand that other people will not understand what it is that you are doing. But the quest that we are on, the rite of passage that we are on, it requires us to have the utmost humility, because, when I really look at things, there's nothing we can do to earn the outcomes that we desire. But by the same token, if you give your all to something, I don't think that you can fail. I honestly don't. I think that you will get what you're after and much more, but you're not getting what you're after and much more because you solely because you earned it. No, it was gifted to us. That's why you have to treat this with, humbleness, and you have to treat this with respect. And in doing that, you will be entrusted with all that, you were supposed to be governing right now, and all that you were supposed to be over as a man. And diving into these things, I want all of us to establish from day one that, many of the chosen, many of the Black warriors, this great escape is the rite of passage that all of us have been searching for. It's the rite of passage that many of us are currently on. It's the rite of passage that has always defined the leaders from the followers, the leaders from, the boys, the chosen man from the common man, the chosen man from the indoctrinated man, the warrior from the one from the warrior from the cowardice, is really what the endeavor is. But your brute strength and your masculinity and all of those things are required, yes, but that alone is not enough. It's not enough. No, you have to really dive deep inside and, really open your inside being to what you're being called to be, and that's the best way that I could really explain it. But I mean, I don't feel like I really have to explain it too much, because a lot of you guys already know.